welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'm gonna show you guys how to crochet this sweater right here. As you all have voted, I have created the sweater and this is the video. I made a few changes, but that's absolutely fine. I explain everything throughout the video. And also, if you guys want to know the measurements for the sweater and also how to crochet in different sizings, I'm gonna be leaving a link down in the description below so you guys can check it out. And also, if you guys have any questions, you can comment on the website or here down in the comments below. And if you guys are excited for today's tutorial, don't forget to give this video a massive thumbs up, and also don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you can join the Brunaticality family. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, so let's begin with the tutorial. So the things that you guys will need to create the sweater will be a bulky yarn. So this one is number 6 and this is the brand. I'm gonna leave everything in the description below, also the link, so you guys can buy exactly the same one and the same shade if you want as well, but this is the one that I'm using. And the shade for the yarn is called Café con Leche, which means coffee with milk. And these are the different shades that it has. It has like a caramel color, a nude, a white, and more like a brownish color as well. So these are the colors that the yarn has, but of course you guys can choose any other colors. So this yarn is 100% acrylic and it's 280 grams, as you can see right here. So this is the hook that I'm gonna be using, is a 10mm hook. I'm also going to be using a yarn needle, some markers, and a pair of scissors. And if you guys want to know how many I bought to create my sweater, I bought 4 balls of yarn, but I'm going to let you know exactly how much I've used at the end of the video. So before I start showing you guys how to create the sweater, I just want to let you know what I've done so far. So I've done the back of my sweater, as you can see, which is going to be exactly the same as the front, but just with a little bit of decreases right here, but that's going to be everything explained throughout the video. So as you can see right here, my rows are vertically because I wanted to create this project very precise and also to create that perfect armpit circumference as well right here. And then I'm going to be working vertically all the way to the other side. So this is my neck, my armpit, and then this is basically the sides of my sweater. So the first thing that we're going to be doing is a slip knot, and then we're going to be chaining 20. So now we are going to be chaining an extra of 3 chains, and then we are going to be starting with our double crochets throughout the entire row. So count 1, 2, 3. On the 4th stitch you're going to be creating a first double crochet. So now you guys can just continue with your double crochets until you get at the end of the row. So as you can see, I have my row completed, and in total I have 21 double crochets including the chain. So now we are going to be chaining 3. So this part is going to be up to you, how you want to create your stitches and how you want them to look like. So I am going to be working only on my back stitches. As you can see right here, we have the front ones and the back ones. You can also work in between the stitches right here. So now I'm going to be creating double crochets throughout my entire row. Also remember that you don't need to create a double crochet on the very first stitch, as you can see this one, because the chain is already counting as a double crochet for the very first stitch. So you guys can just skip that stitch and then start your double crochets from the 2nd stitch. So when you guys have your last stitch right here, you're going to be creating 2 double crochets on that stitch. So if I show you guys like this, so this is the bottom of my sweater and here's my armpit. So I'm going to be starting to do the increases right here. So I'm going to be adding 2 double crochets on my very last stitch. And for the increase, I'm only going to be creating on 3 rows. So on this one, on my 3rd one, and my 4th one. So now I'm going to be chaining 3. Now for this part, we are going to be forgetting about the rule that we're not going to create the double crochet on the very first stitch, because we are going to be creating the double crochet here. So if you guys see on the chain, we have a little stitch. So this is the very first stitch. So we are going to be creating our double crochet on the back of the stitch if you guys are doing the back stitches. so right here, to increase this row as well. So now you're going to be continuing with your double crochets, and then you're going to be chaining one and then go all the way to the top with double crochets, and then I'll meet you guys right here because that's where we're going to be adding the extra double crochet right here. So I'm going to be having 4 rows in total when I come back. So I left my last stitch right here so I can show you guys what I'm doing. I'm going to be creating 2 double crochets on the same stitch so I can finish with my increases. So just create 2 double crochets right here. So now you guys will need to create a chain that comes from here and reaches your shoulders. So this is my armpit. And then this is the increases that we created. If you want, you can just place towards yourself and see if it reaches your shoulders. I am only going to be chaining 4 for this part because that's what worked for me. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I'm going to be chaining an extra of 3 so we can carry on with the double crochets. So now you're going to be turning your project. So what you're going to be doing, you are counting 4 stitches, counting of course these are the 3 that we created last. So 1, 2, 3. On the 4th one we are going to be creating our double crochet, our first one. So now we are going to be continuing with double crochets. We are not going to be decreasing now. For this row we are just going to be doing double crochets. So create double crochets all the way through this row. Also remember that right here we are only going to be working still on the back stitches. So when you get at the end you're going to be chaining 3, and then we are going to be continuing with the double crochets going all the way up, and then you guys will be creating the double crochets all the way to this stitch right here, which is the 3rd one from the last stitch. So you're going to be leaving the last 2 stitches without the double crochets because we are going to be doing a little decrease right here so we can create the round neck right at the top. So as you can see, I have my 2 last stitches right here, and this is where I'm going to be creating my decrease. So first you're going to be wrap the yarn around your hook, going through the stitch, the back one in my case, grabbing the yarn over the first 2 loops, keeping 2 in the hook. Wrap the yarn around your hook, going through the very last stitch, grab the yarn, keep it on the hook, go through the first 2 loops, and then on the last 3 you're going to be yarning over all of the 3 together. So now instead of having 2 stitches we are having only 1 stitch right here. So now you can just turn your project. So we are decreasing and increasing 1 stitch only, so we are going to be skipping the very first one. Make sure that it's very tight in your hook, the yarn. And then we are going to go through the 2nd stitch. So skipping the first one, we are going to go on the 2nd stitch, creating a little single crochet. And then from here you're going to be chaining 2 because the single crochet is quite big already. And then you're going to be continuing doing all your double crochets. And then from here you guys will be continuing with all your double crochets, and then going all the way down to your very last chain right here, chain 3, go back, and then I'm gonna be meeting you guys when I have 2 stitches left, just like on this previous row right here. So as you can see, I have my 2 last stitches right here. First you're gonna be wrap the yarn around your hook, go through the stitch, grab the yarn over through the first 2 loops, keep these 2 on the hook, and then one more time. And then lastly, you're just going to be yarning over all of the last 3 loops. So now we are going to be starting with the increase. So we started doing the decrease right here, so now we are going to be increasing. So you're going to be chaining 3. and we are going to be doing the increases for 2 rows. And then you're going to be turning your project, and then on the very first stitch right here, we are going to be creating our first double crochet so we can create the increase. And then now we are going to be creating the double crochets all the way down the row. So now I'm going to be doing all my double crochets throughout my row, and then I'm going to be chaining 3, and then I'm going to be meeting you guys on my number 6 row. So in total, when I come back, I'm going to have 6 rows, but then I'm going to show you guys what I'm going to do on my very last row right here, which is going to be an increase as well. So when you get right on your number 6 row, as you can see this one, we are going to be doing 2 double crochets on the very last stitch. I left this one so I can do with you guys. So you can just do 2 double crochets on that very last stitch. So 1, 2, and you can already see the round neck right here. So we copied exactly the same as this one. So now the next thing that we have to do is do exactly the same as our last row in this area right here. So it's gonna be this one with only double crochets and no increases and no decreases. So you will be chaining 3, and then you're going to be doing all the double crochets all the way to the last one, and then I'll come back to show you guys what to do next. So when you get to the last one, you have to do your very last double crochet, and then you will be chaining 3. And then right here we are going to be doing something a little bit more different. So this is how it looks like so far, as you can see. So now we are going to be doing exactly the same as on the other side, so for the shoulders and for the armpit. So I'm going to be doing my double crochets until I reach my 21st stitch right here. So I'm going to have all of my double crochets, and then on these 2 stitches we are going to be doing the decrease, and then we are going to have the 5 stitches right in here without doing any double crochets, just to do exactly the same as on the other side. So now I'm going to be doing my double crochets until I reach my 21st stitch right here, and then I'm going to show you guys what to do next. So as you can see right here, I just finished doing all my double crochets and I have my 7 stitches left, and I'm only going to be working on number 6 and 7 to do the decrease, and it's exactly the same as previously. So wrap the yarn around your hook, go through the stitch on the back if you're doing, keep it on the hook, and then go through the first 2 loops, keep it on the hook. You're going to have 2 left, and then you're going to do exactly the same as on the next one. There we go. And then you just yarn over all of the 3 loops together, just like that. That's how you do the decrease. So now we are going to be doing the decrease for 2 more rows. You're going to be skipping the very first stitch, so we are going to be copying exactly the same as previously as well. So skipping the very first stitch, on the next one a single crochet, and then chaining 2, and then now you can just continue doing all your double crochets. So skip the very first stitch, remember that. So now you guys can just continue doing all of your double crochets all the way to the last chain, chain 3, and then I'm gonna be meeting you guys on my next row when I have 2 stitches left. So as you can see right here, I have done my next row and then I have 2 stitches left. So now we are going to be doing the decrease on these 2 last stitches, so exactly the same as previously. So now we are going to be turning, and we are going to be doing exactly the same as previously for this decrease as well. So skipping the very first one, on the second one a single crochet, chain 2. So now you guys can just continue doing all of your double crochets, and I'm gonna be meeting you guys on my very last stitch. So if you guys have finished the very last row, you guys can just fasten off now. So if you guys have finished the front, now you guys have to do the back part. So I'm gonna explain to you guys what you guys gonna be doing for the back. It's gonna be exactly the same thing, but without the decrease right here. So you're gonna be using the same technique for all your 5 first rows. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So all of this is gonna be exactly the same. And then when you get to your 5 rows right in the middle that you have the decrease and the increase, you're not going to be doing this for the back, you're only going to be doing double crochets. So you're going to be chaining 3 all the way down with double crochets, chaining 3 going up again, chaining 3, so no decrease and no increase. And then when you get to your last 5 rows right here, you're going to be doing exactly the same, chaining 3, go all the way back, leave the 7 stitches, and then do the decreases right here. So it's exactly the same but without the decreases and the increases. Hopefully that makes sense. So this is basically everything that we're going to be doing for the front and the back of the sweater. So I just want to mention something to you guys regarding the neck area. So I just decreased 1 stitch and then increased 1 stitch on both sides, but you guys can actually just deepen this a little bit more if you want by decreasing more stitches at the beginning. So what you guys can do is basically decrease maybe 3 or 4 stitches right at the beginning, so it's gonna be basically a little bit more deeper, but that's up to you. I just like to be very close to my neck, but that's up to you. You guys can change that when you're actually doing and trying it on and everything. So the first thing that we're gonna be sewing will be both sides, so right here and then this one. I'm gonna be using my yarn needle and a little bit of the yarn, so I'm gonna be starting under my arms and then I'm gonna be working all my way down to the bottom. So right here you can just match both stitches, the very first ones, and then just go through with the needle, and then you can just make a knot right here. What I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna get 1 stitch from one side and then 1 stitch from the other side, and then I'm gonna be sewing it together. And then the same, so 1 stitch from one side and then 1 stitch from the other side, and then just sew it together. Just make sure that you pull tight so it's really nice and secured. And then again, and then we are just going to be going through all of the stitches on the side right here. So when you get right at the end, you can just fasten off. So now I'm gonna be weaving all my yarns into my project, and then when I'm done doing this side, I'm gonna be moving into the next side, and then I'm gonna be sewing this together, and then also I'm gonna be weaving all my yarn in the project. So before I carry on, I just want to show you guys that I have created one of the sleeves for my sweater, and I'm going to be showing you guys in the camera how I'm going to be creating the other one. And I have added a little bow on the side, which I think looks quite cute, but you don't really have to add it. I just added for a little decoration, but that's completely up to you. And I just want to show you guys that I have done the crab stitch right at the bottom right here in my sleeves. So now I'm going to be showing you guys the other one. And to create the sleeves, you want to make sure that your project is on the right side. So if you finish the sewing on the reverse, you want to make sure that you turn your project inside out, and then you have the right side facing you. And then to create the sleeves, we are going to be working in rows, and you want to make sure that your project is also on the right side so we can see all the rows, and we have already the sleeves completed basically. So if you're attaching yarn exactly the same place that I'm attaching, so you're just going to be twisting the project like this, and then I'm going to be attaching on the back part of my sweater. So now I'm just going to be attaching my yarn right in that stitch, and then I'm going to be zooming in, and then we're going to be starting to create all the rows. So when you finish attaching your yarn, you're going to be chaining 3. Now we are going to be dividing our armpit circumference into 3 sections. So the first section we will be doing 9 double crochets. For the second section we are going to be doing 11 single crochets. So from where we stopped doing the 9 double crochets all the way to the other side. And then we are going to be finishing off with 9 double crochets. So if you're doing exactly the same size as I'm doing, these are the double crochets and the single crochets, the amount of double crochets and single crochets that you will need to be doing. So for the first 9 stitches, I'm going to be doing 9 double crochets, including the little chain that we created at the beginning. So as you can see right here, I have my 9 double crochets completed. So now we are going to be stopping with the double crochets and we are going to be working with single crochets. So you want to create 11 single crochets on 11 stitches. So when you get under your armpit, you're going to be grabbing a stitch from one side and then one stitch from the other side, and then you're going to be creating a single crochet. This is our stitch number 6, and then you're going to be doing 5 more single crochets on this side, and then we are going to be finishing off with our 9 double crochets at the end right here. So now we are going to be changing to double crochets, and you want to have 9 double crochets as well, like the other side and the other sleeve. So just make sure that you have 9 double crochets. If you have to skip 1 or 2 stitches, that's absolutely fine. Just make sure that it's exactly the same as the other sleeve. When you have 1 stitch left, you're gonna be leaving this one without doing a double crochet so we can connect to the other side. So you want to wrap the yarn around your hook once only, and then you want to go through the stitch that we are doing the last double crochet, leaving the yarn on the back, and then you want to find the very first stitch or a little loop on the chain that we've created right at the beginning. I'm going to be using the little loop that I've created to attach my yarn. So you want to put the hook through that loop, and then you're going to be wrapping the yarn around your hook. You want to go through the very first loop and then keep it on the hook, and then you want to go through the next loop. There we go. And then what you're going to do, you are going to be creating your double crochet. So go through the first 2 loops in the hook and then keeping the last one, and then you go through the last 2 loops. And then what you're going to be doing now is just connecting to the other side with a slip stitch. So count 1, 2, 3. On the 3rd stitch you're going to be connecting with a slip stitch. So this is everything that we're going to be doing. So now we are going to be jumping into the next row. So I just want to show you guys how it looks like. So now for 6 rows we are going to be decreasing 1 stitch at the beginning and 1 stitch at the end. So we are not going to be starting with a chain. We are going to be skipping the chain and we are going to be moving into the next stitch. I'm not going to be working on the back stitches now. I'm going to be working on my entire stitch. So in between each stitch right here. Okay, so I'm not going to be working on the back ones anymore. So you want to skip the very first one. You want to go through the second, grab the yarn, single crochet, chain 2 just like before, and then we are going to be creating our double crochets until we reach the single crochets. So we are going to be starting with our single crochets when we find a double crochet and a single crochet together, and we are going to be creating our single crochet right in between the 2 stitches. So right in between, start your single crochets, and then we are going to be continuing with our single crochets. So you're also going to be creating your last single crochet when you find a single crochet and a double crochet on the previous row. So here it's our last single crochet. So you can just carry on doing all your double crochets until you have 2 stitches left. So when you have 2 stitches left, we are going to be doing the decrease again. So exactly the same as on the other rows that we created for the front and the back of the sweater. So wrap the yarn around your hook, go through the stitch, grab the yarn, keep it on the hook, yarn over the first 2 loops, wrap the yarn around your hook, go through the stitch, grab the yarn, keep it on the hook, yarn over the first 2 loops, and then yarn over the last 3 loops in the hook. So now you have 1 stitch, and then you're going to be counting 1, 2, 3. On the 3rd stitch you're going to be connecting with a slip stitch. So now you guys will be repeating the same technique as the previous row. So you're not going to be starting with a chain, you're going to be moving into the next stitch and then creating a single crochet, and then here you're going to be chaining 2. And then you're going to be continuing with the double crochets until you find the last double crochet and the first single crochet on the previous row. So when you find the double crochet and the single crochet on the previous row, this is where you're going to be creating your first single crochet, and then you're going to be creating single crochets until you find your next, there we go, your next double crochet and single crochet on the previous row. So you're going to be doing the last single crochet when you find your last single crochet and your first double crochet. And then from now on you can just continue creating your double crochets until you have 2 stitches left. So now I have my 2 stitches left, so I'm going to be doing the decrease right on these 2 stitches. And then I'm going to be connecting to the other side with a slip stitch. So now you guys will be using the same technique to create a total of 7 rows, including the very first one that we've created without the decreases. But before I go and I finish all the 4 rows that I have to finish, I just want to mention to you guys something that is going to happen right at the end right here, when you're only going to have the single crochets and you're not going to be having the double crochets anymore because we are decreasing. So when you have only the single crochets, if that happens to you guys, you are going to be leaving the last 2 stitches for creating the double crochets instead of the single crochets. But I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna show you guys if that happens to me. If it doesn't really happen to you, that's absolutely fine. Just create all of the 7 rows that you have to create and then come back to the video. So as you can see here, I have a single crochet and the double crochet stitch right here at the top. So I am gonna be doing the decrease on top of the single crochet, but with a double crochet, not a single crochet. So I am gonna be doing the decrease on top of the single crochet with the beginning of the double crochet. Hopefully I'm making sense. And then connecting to the other side. So now we are still going to have 1 stitch with the double crochet, so we are going to be doing exactly like here, using the previous stitch from the single crochet to create the decrease as well. So I'm gonna be finishing my last row and then I'll be back. So I have now finished all of the 7 rows. I am going to be doing now 3 rows with only double crochets, so I'm going to be showing you guys. So now we are not going to be doing any decreases anymore, so we are going to be chaining 3. And then we are going to be jumping into the next stitch, and then we are going to be carry on with the double crochets. So we are not going to be doing any single crochets either, so we're just going to be doing the double crochets. So I'm here on my last stitch, so I'm going to be creating my last double crochet on this row and then attaching to the other side with a slip stitch. There we go. So now we are going to be chaining 3, and then on the next stitch available, a double crochet. And then you're just gonna go all the way around, attach with a slip stitch, and then create another row. So in total it's gonna be 3 rows. When I come back, I'm gonna have all of them completed, and then we can carry on with the project. So this is how it looks like so far, and I just finished my 3 rows that I had to do with only the double crochets, and this is how it looks like. So now for the next row we are going to be doing some increases. So first you want to begin with a chain of 3. And then you just want to open it up a little bit, and then you see that there is a little stitch just under the chain. You want to put your hook through there and create your first double crochet right here. So now on the next stitch it's going to be only 1 double crochet, and then on the next one it's going to be 2 double crochets, and then the next one only 1, and the next one 2. And then you're going to be repeating the same all the way around, and then I'm going to be meeting you guys on my last stitch. So I'm here on my last stitch, so this one is only 1 double crochet, and then you're just going to be attaching to the other side with a slip stitch. So now for the next row onwards we are only going to be doing double crochets on all of the rows. So you will be chaining 3, and then on the next stitch available, we are not going to be skipping anything. On the next stitch available we are going to be creating the first double crochet, and then on the next one as well a double crochet. So you're gonna go with the double crochets all the way around the row. So I am here on my last stitch, so my last double crochet in the row, and then I'm gonna be connecting with a slip stitch with the other side. Then I'm just gonna be repeating the same as the previous row, so you're gonna be chaining 3. And then I'm just going to be continuing with my double crochets all the way around until my last stitch, and then I'm going to be connecting with a slip stitch right at the top. So this is basically everything that I'm going to be doing for the sleeves. In total, if you guys want to know how many rows I'm doing for my sleeves, it's going to be 21 rows in total, but of course you can do shorter or longer. So now when I come back, I'm going to be having all of this completed, and then I'm going to be showing you guys how to do the end right here, the crab stitch. And also I'm gonna show you guys how you're gonna be attaching the bow. So to create the crab stitch, we are not gonna be working forward, we are going to be working backwards. So the first thing that you guys wanna do is having the hook inside of the loop, like this, like normally. But instead of staying like this, you just wanna twist it, and you wanna have it like that. Because the yarn is a little bit more secure when you twist it like this to create the crab stitch. So you wanna go back on the stitch, on the previous one, go through the stitch, you wanna grab the yarn, you want to bring it all the way forward, and then you want to pull all the way up as well, and then you want to go through the loops. And then again you're going to be repeating exactly the same thing. You're going to be twisting the yarn and the hook, you want to go through the stitch, you want to grab the yarn, and then move it all the way up, and then yarn over. So you can just repeat that again. So we're going to be twisting the yarn and the hook, you're going to go through the previous stitch, which is our next stitch, you're going to grab the yarn, you're going to move it all the way up, and then you're going to be yarning over the 2 loops on the hook, and then you're going to be doing that again, twisting, going through, grabbing the yarn, move it all the way up, and then yarn over. So this is basically everything that I'm going to be doing for the finishing of my sleeves. And then now you can just go all the way around, and then I'm gonna meet you guys on my last stitch. So when you get to your last stitch, you just want to turn your project, and then you can just find the stitch on the other side. I'm gonna be getting this one, and then you can just close it with a slip stitch. So if you finish, you can just fasten off, and then you can just weave in the rest of the yarn. So now for the bow, you want to cut 3 strings of yarn of about 2 meters long each, and then you just want to fold it in half. And then at the end you just want to make a knot, and then you just want to leave a few yarns remaining on the bottom. So you can decide on each row you want to place the bow. I'm going to be placing on my row number 10, which is this one. So now you just want to get the strings of yarn, and then you want to go through all of the double crochets in a zigzag motion, and then you want to decide where you want to place the bow. So now you can just tie your bow. So now that we have the sleeves completed, I'm going to show you guys what to do on the neck part and also right at the bottom of your sweater. For the neck, we are just going to be working in rounds and only with double crochets and with a few decreases as well. So we are going to be using the same technique used for the sleeves. So the first thing that you guys want to do is find the stitch and then attach your yarn on any of the stitches around your neck. So I'm going to be choosing this one. So the first row is going to be only with double crochets, so I'm going to be chaining 3. Also, we don't really have stitches on the base of the neck area, so what we're going to be doing, we're just going to be finding stitches and then we're going to be creating our double crochets. So I'm going to go all the way around with double crochets and then I'm going to be meeting you guys on my last stitch. So when you finish your last double crochet, you're just going to be connecting to the other side with a slip stitch. So this is how it looks like with only one row of double crochets. As you can see, it's more like a round neck. You can leave it like that if you want. You can try it on, see if you like it, and you can leave it like this. I'm gonna be doing a turtleneck, so I'm gonna be creating more rows so I can fold it and also have as a turtleneck, but that's up to you guys. So now for the second row, we are going to be creating some decreases right at the beginning and also on the other side. So you can divide this part into two. So we have this part right here, and then we have this one right here where we are going to be doing the decreases as well. So for the beginning of the row, we are going to be doing the same as the sleeves. So you're going to be skipping the chain and you're going to be jumping into the next stitch, and then you're going to be creating a single crochet. And then you're going to be chaining two, and then you're going to be creating double crochets all the way to the other side. So you're going to be creating double crochets all the way here, and then I'm going to be meeting you guys in this stitch right here. So you're going to have two stitches right here that we have to decrease. So when you get to the other side, you're going to be choosing two stitches on the sides. So I'm going to be choosing this one and this one, which is closer to my shoulders. So I'm just going to be doing my last double crochet right here, and then on these two stitches we are going to be creating the decrease. So the same decrease that we've been creating for the sleeves. So now we are going to be continuing with the double crochets, and then I'm going to be meeting you guys when I have two stitches left. So when you have two stitches left, you're going to be creating another decrease. And then you're going to be connecting with the other side with a slip stitch. So if you guys want, you can leave it like this. I'm gonna be continuing now with my rows, and if you want, you can continue as well. And then when I come back, I'm gonna have my rows completed with the decreases, and I'll let you know how many I did. So I have here 6 rows completed. As you can see, I have 5 with the decreases and 1 with only the double crochets. So now I'm gonna be stopping doing the decreases, and I'm gonna be doing some rows with only the double crochets. So now I'm just going to be creating the normal double crochets with no decreases. So you're going to be chaining 3, and then you're going to be continuing with the double crochets, and then when you get at the last stitch, you're going to be connecting with a slip stitch right on the chain. So I'm going to be doing that, and then I'm going to let you know how many rows I did. So as you can see, I have completed all of my rows, and in total I've created 8 rows, including the ones with only the double crochets, with only the decreases, and with only the double crochets at the beginning. And if you're happy on how it looks like, you can just fasten off, and then now we are going to be doing the last part of the sweater. So just before we jump into the last part, I just want to show you guys how it looks like when you fold the neck part, the one that we've created now. So this is how it looks like. So now the last thing that we have to create is a little finish to the bottom of the sweater. You can leave it like this if you want. I just wanted to match the sleeves. So I am going to be creating the crab stitch going all the way around. So what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be attaching my yarn on the right side. So this is my right side. On the left side, and then I'm gonna be working backwards, going all the way to the other side, and then all the way around, and then I'm gonna be meeting you guys right here. So it's basically the same thing that we created for the sleeves, we are going to be creating for the bottom of the sweater. So I'm gonna be attaching into this stitch right here. You can attach on any that you want, and then you're going to be chaining 1, and then what you're gonna be doing is twisting the yarn and the hook like that, so it's easy to grab the previous stitch, and then you're going to be grabbing the yarn, moving all the way up, and then single crochet. So you're gonna be repeating that all the way around the bottom of the sweater. So when you write at the end, you're just gonna be doing one last crab stitch right here. There we go, this was my last stitch. Then you're gonna be turning your project normally, basically. So you're gonna be finding a stitch on the other side, on the other crab stitch, and then you're just gonna be creating a slip stitch. So basically that's everything that you're gonna be doing. And then right here you can just fasten off. So now the last thing that you have to do is to weave it in all of the yarns around your project, and if you want you can just put a little bit of fabric glue on the cuts, but that's gonna be up to you. So I'm just gonna be weaving all of my yarns around my project, and then I'll be back to show you guys the finished project. So this is my sweater completed. I really hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys want to know how much of the yarn that I have left, it's basically this much of yarn, and it's only 4 rows of my project, so I don't have quite a lot of yarn left, but that's everything that I have. Also, if you guys want to know which fabric glue I was using to seal all of my cuts throughout my project, I've used this one right here. I'm gonna be leaving everything in the description below so you guys can buy the same one if you want. So this is everything for today's video. I really hope you guys enjoyed. Also, don't forget to give this video a massive thumbs up if you guys enjoyed. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my channel to join the Cuticality family. Also, follow me on all of my social media so you can see all of my posts and all of my updates. So I'll see you guys soon on my next video. Bye bye!